Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and we are working on part 2 of our mystery blanket today. Get excited guys. If you haven't done part 1, I've left part 1 in the description box or the more section down below and you can click on that link and then rejoin us. All you missed out on was 1, 2, 3 and 4 rows of part 1. All right, so head off and do that and then join us back here for part 2. Now this, guys, is part 2. This is the pattern we're going to be working on today and then really focus on the instructions at the end of this tutorial. Really focus on the instructions, yeah? I have left a full verbal instructions at the end, but I've also left a written instructions at the end for you to complete, all right? In the meantime, don't cut. If you've cut your thread here, oh well, doesn't matter. We will need to know which is the back and the front of your work. So far, we've been working on just the front of our work. In this tutorial, there's going to be 2 rows that you'll be flipping. You'll be flipping once to work on one row, then you'll be flipping to work on the other. So if you are confused for the front and the back, leave a little stitch marker somewhere to show the front so you know which side is which, all right? If you've weaved in your end. If you haven't weaved in your end, you'll know where the tail is at the back of your work, all right? But we will be flipping our work twice. And make sure you are working your last few rows on the right side of your work. Otherwise, the blanket is not going to work out. All right, so that's it, guys. I'm not going to talk anymore. I will say, however, the only difficult stitch here will be this little special stitch, which I like to call a cluster set in this tutorial. Now, I did upload a short on YouTube, a reel on Instagram and a short on Facebook yesterday on how to do this stitch. So if you haven't done it, go check them out, have a bit of a practice and then return back here because believe it or not, it's really quite basic. Once you get it, the rest is just a repetitive section across. All right, just stay focused on those corners as well in this particular round. And then you've got your special round, which is lots of information on that as well. Special round meaning nothing. They're just double crochets and half doubles US or trebles and half trebles UK. It's just a matter of how many you put in the actual round. All right. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to let you get started creating part 2 of our beautiful mystery blanket. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, where I left you off in part 1, I got you to do this very last round where you did your double crochets in the back loops only and you did your normal cluster sets in the corner. Now in this round, the whole pattern is going to change just that little bit. All right, and the next round, but let's just focus on this round. Oops, I'll take my stitch marker out. Let's pretend like I haven't completed it. And we'll do our chain 1 and 2 and then we'll slip stitch into the stitch like normal. Yeah, all right. Now here's where it can get a tad tricky. So what we're going to do now is chain 4, not chain 3. So chain 4, which is 1, tighten that chain a little bit, 2, 3 and 4. And as normal, you're going to need to put a stitch marker in the first stitch so that you can find it at the end of the round. Right there, like normal. Yarn over your hook. Now what we're going to do is double crochet 2 together cluster set. We did upload a practice of this stitch yesterday, so hopefully you got a chance to practice it. If not, pop your yarn over your hook like you're doing a double crochet. But you're going to go back into the space as normal, pop your hook in, pull a loop through like so. What you have is your 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, hold it there. Yarn over, straight back into the space, pull a loop through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. All right. From here, you're going to chain 1. Now what you're going to do is skip the first stitch and do exactly the same. Skip 1 and you're going to do your cluster set. Skip 1 cluster. But you've got to be wary that the very first stitch you need to do is, normally it would be in that top chain 3. So you're skipping that chain 3 and you're going into the very next stitch. So you're already in there, but you're going to assume it's the first stitch. So skip that one, jump into the very next one with a double crochet cluster set. So yarn over your hook, you're skipping that top chain 3 into your very next stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over your hook, straight into the same stitch, pull a loop through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, chain 1. All right, the rest of this row right here is easy. You're going to do just that all the way across the row, making sure you skip 1 stitch. So skip the stitch, go into your very next one with your cluster set. There's your 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over your hook, back into the same stitch, pull a loop through, 4, yarn over, pull through 2, 3, yarn over, pull through the last 3, chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1 after every cluster set, and skip the next, and do this pattern all the way across the side of your piece. All right, that's why I said it is a change of pattern, and it can be a little bit tricky, making sure you skip. Okay, again, if you haven't practiced this and would like to, we put a short up yesterday on YouTube. The reel is up on Instagram and the other short is up on Facebook. So you've got plenty of areas where you could have practiced it. Doesn't matter, you can try it now. Yes, we're almost at the end of the row. And then when I say row, not row, side, we're almost at the end of the side. And if you played your cards right, you would end up with 1 double crochet left at the end of this side, if you did the math properly. Skip into the next stitch, like so. This is the second last stitch of this side, which is actually the last stitch for this cluster set before the corner. So there's your next stitch. Don't forget to chain that one right there. There's your next stitch right there. We're not going to do anything with that. So if you look carefully at this, you've got your cluster set. First you've got your chain 4, cluster set, and then chain 1. Cluster, chain, cluster, chain, cluster, chain, cluster, chain, cluster, chain, all the way across, yeah? And you've got a skip stitch between each. When you get to the corner, you've chained your 1 already, you're going to do a cluster in the corner. So hop in the corner and do what you've been doing all the way across the side, doing your clusters in the corner, like so. You don't chain 1 when you're in the corner, because you're going to do a treble crochet for US terminology, or a double treble in the UK terminology. And the treble, you're popping your yarn over your hook twice. So once and twice. All right. With your double, you would have just gone over once and started your double. But we want to do a whole treble. So once and twice, and then you go into the space with your hook, pull a loop through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Before you continue, this is where you need your 4 stitch markers. Your first one will go right in the top of that stitch that you just created. You'll need this to complete your corner in the next round, okay? So pop that there. You don't need to chain 1. You just need to do one of these cluster sets in the corner. So yarn over your hook into the corner, and you are doing a cluster set again. Whoops. Through 2, yarn over, back into the corner, pull a loop through, 4, yarn over, 2, 3, yarn over through all 3 loops. That is going to be your corner throughout this round, okay? You always chain 1 to get out of the corner, and you always chain 1 to get into the corner. Well, after each cluster set anyway, yeah? But don't chain in the cluster sets in your corner. I hope that made sense, yeah? So what I want you to do, and I'm going to pop this on fast, you're going to do this side the same way you did this side, and when we get to the corner, I'll stop right here and we will do the corner together. But in the meantime, first before you do anything, you just pull your work over like you've been doing all along, but make sure you've chained your one, yeah? You pull your work over. Normally you would go into that stitch, but because we are skipping a stitch, you're going into the next stitch. So you've got your yarn over your hook. Start your cluster set with your 2 like so. Yarn over your hook in the same stitch. Complete your cluster set with your 2, and you've got your 3. Chain 1. Continue your sets all along like normal. And off you go. Skip 1 into the next, doing your cluster set. And chaining 1. Now remember, if you did your math correctly, you would have made each cluster set and a chain in between your cluster sets, skipping a stitch all the way across, and you would have 1 stitch left. Before we continue, I wanted to show you that ignoring the cluster sets in your corner, counting the cluster sets across, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? That's ignoring the ones in the corners here. So go over here, ignore this corner, and you haven't done this one yet. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure your count is right along the sides. When your piece gets bigger and bigger, you're going to make sure you count the sides, or it's nothing worse than getting all the way around and you have to take undone 100 and something stitches because you've made a mistake on the second one, yeah? So I'm going to actually continue to count, and I'd like you to count when you are ready, but for now, we're going to do 1 more corner together, and then I'm going to get you to do the rest on your own, okay? So yarn over your hook, making sure you've chained your 1 here, into the corner with a cluster set. Yes, you know how to do the cluster set now? You're a genius at it. 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 3. Don't chain 1 when you're in the corner, yeah? Yarn over your hook twice, because we're going to do that treble US, double treble UK in that space, yeah? So in you go, pull a loop through, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, and remember what we do here? We grab a stitch marker and we pop that in the top of that stitch that we just created. Now that is actually a must if you are a brand new crocheter. If you are a genius at crochet and you know what you're doing and you don't need a stitch marker, by all means you don't have to, but I would suggest doing one. Now you don't need to do any chains here because you're still in the corner, but you need to do 1 last cluster set in the corner. So yarn over your hook and do your normal cluster set. Yarn over, back in the space, pull a loop through. You've got your 4, pull through 2, 3, pull through all 3. To get out of the corner, you're chaining 1, pulling your guy right over, and that's your first stitch. So you're jumping right into the very next stitch. So yarn over your hook, skipping that first one, jumping into the next one with your cluster set. Yeah, super easy. All right, so I can, let's chain 1, continue to show you what to do, or you could actually do the rest of this side and get to your very second last stitch right here. And I'll meet you back here once you're done. Remember to leave a chain 1 after every cluster set and skip a stitch. Leave the chain 1. In fact, if I were you, I would actually rewatch what we did in the corners there to continue along. All right, so continue along that way, do your corner, continue along the last side, get to your second last stitch there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. Make sure that you have 7 cluster sets on each side. Make sure you have a cluster, a treble, and a cluster in the corner, or double treble for UK. These are all very important steps for this next round. Now you've done your last cluster set, you should have 1 double crochet remaining. Make sure you've chained your 1. We're going to hop into that corner with a final cluster set. So yarn over your hook into the corner and do another cluster set. I say another because there's already 1 in there. In between you will have your treble. Yarn over, pull through. No chaining, we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that stitch marker stitch. Taking out the stitch marker if it's a little difficult, yep. Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, don't chain. Because what we're going to do now is, actually no, chain 1 so you know what you're doing. Now you are in that stitch there. What you're going to do is work on the wrong side of your work now. So you're actually going to, I'll bring it out a bit so you can see what I do. You're going to flip your work. So you're working on the side with your tail, all right? Now I'll show you up the top so you know what to look for. Flipping your work. So what we're going to do now is we've already chained 1, yeah? We're going to do a half double crochet in the same stitch we are in. Let's get another closer. There we go. Or a half treble in the UK. Now this is our treble from before, or our double treble UK from before. So that is our stitch that we are in. Can you see when you pull it? You can see that's the stitch there. So what you're going to do is yarn over your hook, pop your hook in the same tight stitch that you are in. It's going to be tight, yeah. Pull a loop through like so, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now that's going to be a little tight, but don't worry about it. What I want you to do is make sure you have a stitch marker in this stitch. This will not be noticed at the end of the round, so make sure you pop your stitch marker in there. All right. Now what you're going to do in the same stitch, which is very tight, is a single crochet US, double in the UK. All right. So you're popping your hook in the same stitch, tight stitch, yeah. Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. All right, then see your cluster set right here, and you can actually stretch it and you can see the big space. Put 1 single crochet in that space or stitch, yeah. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Single crochet US, double crochet UK. Then when you get to your space, you're doing your single crochet over the whole stitch, or double crochet UK. So pop your hook into the space, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Now this is the simple part. A single in your stitch, a single in the space, a single in your stitch, a single in your space. And you can see the stitch. If you're not sure, give it a tug, and that's where you pop your hook. You should have your 2 loops on top and the full posts on the bottom. Pull a loop through. I say posts because they're 2 together. So normal single crochet in your stitch, single in the space, single in the stitch, single in the space. So it's very, very simple until you get to your corner. Let's bring it down a little bit. There you go. So continue in that manner, single in the stitch, because we're in the space here, stitch, space, stitch, space, stitch, space. I'll slow it down, stitch, space, stitch, space. Now, when you get to the end of the round, let's try end of the side, not round. I'm going to let you catch up there. You should have filled in all the stitches and all the spaces till you get across the side. And right here you would have your stitch marker in your treble, which I have split the yarn, so I'm going to take mine out in a minute. And then you would have your cluster set right there, and you can actually see that set. You're going to do a single crochet in that cluster set as you would doing normal cluster sets across. When you get to that, which mine is split, when you get to that treble right there, you're going to pop your single crochet, I'm going to go under the split, into the stitch and do a normal single crochet. Just take out your stitch marker for a moment. You're going to work in that stitch again, but take out your stitch marker. And now you're going to do a half double crochet or a half treble UK, yarn over your hook into the same stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Once again, pop your stitch marker in that stitch there. It's the half double US, half treble UK. In the same stitch, you're doing another single crochet. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through. This is single US, double UK. Yarn over your hook and pull through both those loops. So now what you've done is you've done your single, your half double and your single all in that corner. Now you're going to jump out of the corner, go into your first cluster set like we did here, yeah? And you're going to do your singles all the way across yet again. So your first one will be that very first cluster set, which is the one that's in the corner. So you do your normal single crochet, US, double UK, into the space, into the set, into the space, all the way across your piece. All right, so what I'm going to do is just so until we get to the very next corner, I'm going to pop this on fast, and I want you to pop your single crochets in every space and in every stitch all the way across, and off you go. All right, so I am here at the end of the round, row, let's try that again, side. Into the space before your corner, you still need to pop a single crochet. Then into the cluster set of the corner, single crochet. And then in the actual corner, you pop a single crochet in the stitch marker stitch. Remove your stitch marker. Half double in the same stitch. Pop your stitch marker in that stitch, and then you single crochet in the same stitch, once again jumping into your cluster set and then over your next chain, into the set, over the next chain. All right, so what I want you to do pretty much is that, okay? But we're going to do that together, all right? The only thing I want you to do right now is count your stitches on both these sides that we've just completed. And where I want you to count is your little V's that you have marked right here. These are the stitches that I want you to count. Because they're single crochets, they're hard to count this way, so just make sure you count the V's. Ignoring the V that you are in, all right, that your stitch marker is. So ignoring that one, count all the other V's that you see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and there's one right there, 19. So each side should have 19 V's, but ignoring your stitch marker stitch, yeah? Stitches, that is, all the way across, ignore them. So count that side there, count that side, but when you're finished, count them, yeah? Well, when I say when you're finished, when you're finished each side, count each side. What you need to do, and the best way to do this so you don't make any mistakes, is to complete the side, do the first 2 stitches here, like we've done here, 2 or 3 stitches, and then count the one that you just completed. because like I said further on in our pattern, when you decided to do the whole round, and if you haven't counted and you've made a mistake in the second stitch, you've got to take a whole round undone. That's okay in this small piece, but when it's this big, that is, 50 to 100 stitches, maybe more in the future. Yeah, we're going to get excited about that. But for now, we're going to continue this side. What I want you to do, and we're going to do this on fast, so that you don't have to sit and watch me do it. But I want to do it on fast. When I get to the corner, we're going to go slow so that we can all complete our corners together. And then I want you to count your sides as well. All right. So single in that space, single in the stitch. Yeah, like so. All right. So what I'm going to do, and I did this really loose, is pop this on fast until we get to the corner. Yeah. And then we will all do the corner together and off we go. All right, I just did the space before the corner, and now I have my cluster set in the corner. We need to do a single crochet in that cluster set. Now remember what we do in the corner. We start with a single crochet, US, double UK, yep, taking out your stitch marker, and do your half double crochet US, half treble UK, yarn over your hook, in the same stitch you are in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, popping your stitch marker in there like so. Yeah, single crochet in the same space. So it's single, half and single all in the corner, and then you just find your very first cluster set and you pop your single crochet in that cluster set, and a single in your space and a single in your cluster. All right, so go ahead and count your side right there. Make sure you have your 19 across, and then continue along the way. I'm going to pop this on fast until we get to the end of this last side. I'm in that last cluster set. What I might do is just undo that and do the last cluster again. So we're going into the very last cluster set before the corner. It looks like it's not, but it actually is. So you're going to pop your single crochet in that set right there. Now it kind of looks like you're skipped a stitch there, but you've not. That's the turn that we did. Now see where your half double crochet is in that space right there. What I want you to do is pop your single crochet, your next one, in that space, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Then I want you to slip stitch into the stitch marker with your stitch, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, taking out that stitch marker, and just chain 1 for a minute. All right, what you've done there is you completed that corner. In that corner you had half double and a single, and then we did our sets across, our single crochet in the sets across. In this side we did all our singles across, and then we put 1 more single in that corner to complete that corner to be single, half double, single. I hope that made sense. All right, so don't stress too much about it yet, because when you really need to stress is this next round. All right, the next round, it's not a tricky round. They're basic stitches, 2 stitches they are, double crochet US, treble UK, and half double crochet US, half treble UK. All right, so they're basic stitches. What's going to make it a little bit awkward is we're going to flip our work again. All right, before we do, I just wanted to let you know the reason we turned this work, there are 3 reasons. 1, it changes the look of your piece on the other side, the right side of your work. 2, it will, when you turn it over, straighten your square, because your square starts to go a bit lopsided when you keep going in the rounds. 3, It's to help us with our very next stage of the pattern. All right, so leaving it where it was, right, pop your hook back in that loop. Now we did chain one, didn't we? Just once again, turn your work. Now this can get a little tricky here to see. Now I'm going to call this round the special round. The reason is when we finish part 2, you're going to head off on your own and repeat part 2 over and over again for a certain amount of sets. All right, so when you get to the special round, however, the start of it, the amount that you crochet across, the start will change in every set. The first set we do will be 4 double crochets across. The next time you do the set, it'll be 8 double crochets across. And the next time you do the set will be 12. Don't worry about that for now. Let's just focus on this round for now. All right, so you've done your chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. Grabbing your stitch marker, popping it in that stitch right there. We're going to get a really big close-up in a minute because I want to show you exactly where you put your double crochet. So what you need to do is put a double crochet in the corner. Now if you stretch your corner, you can see your chains coming out of that stitch there. So yarn over your hook, you're going into that stitch right where your first chain was. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now yarn over your hook. Your very next stitch is there. Now this is actually the corner, all right? So the very next stitch is the start of your side, all right? So you're going into that stitch with a double crochet, like so. 2 loops on top, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over 2 loops, yarn over 2. That is your first double crochet for this side. Now you're going to do 3 more. Okay, so 3 across, which is the second one. Well, actually 4 altogether, yeah? Third one. In every stitch across. And then your 4th one. So if you're not sure what I did there, I'm going to count it with you. There's your chains and your double crochet, that's your corner. Then we did 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. All right, now we're going to go into what we call half double crochets US, half trebles UK. All right, so now I've gone too far back, sorry. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do 11 of those half double crochets across. So yarn over your hook into the very next stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And that's 1. Do 1 in the next stitch, 2. Yeah, and you continue along the way until you do 11 across. You've done 2, 3, remember they're half doubles, 4 or half trebles UK, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right. Now, if you did your sums right, what you will have is 1, 2, 3, and right stuck in there, you can see how tight that stitch is the 4th one. Now you've got to do your double crochets across. So yarn over your hook into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops, and then you do a second one, and then you do a third one, and then you do a 4th one, which is stuck right in the corner, which is part of your corner, so you do your 4th one right there. But now in that stitch marker, which is why I told you to put your stitch markers in, I'll split the yarn again, but I'll go through it so I don't go through the split. That's where you start your next corner, these corners that you see right here. So you're going to put a double crochet in that stitch marker stitch, avoiding that little split, Mary. and do your double crochet 1 for now. Remove your stitch marker. Do a second one in the same stitch. Chain 1 and 2. And do 2 more in the same stitch. So what you have, you can put your stitch marker in there if you like. It will be easier to find this corner now that we've got a kind of like a dent in there. What you have now is that, all right? Looking a little bit distorted in there, that sorts itself out as you go along, all right? So you have 4 double crochets across there, 11 half doubles, 4. When we repeat this set in another 4 or 5 rounds, you will be doing 8 along there, and then it'll be different half doubles and then 8 on the end. So that's why I call this the special round, all right? But I will explain that again later when we're ready to do the next set. So don't worry too much about the start and the ending of this round until we're ready to do the next set. So what I want you to do is to continue along the way. No, before you finish, starting from your stitch marker stitch, I want you to count your stitches all the way across until you get to the very last double crochet. All right, so you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. You should have 23 stitches all the way across. Not double crochets because you've got some halves. It's the actual stitches that you're counting, these little V's. All right. Now, don't worry too much about that until you get this side done. And I'll explain that to you in a moment. And away we go. All right. So once again, you're going to do 4 double crochets across, 11 half doubles, and then 4 at the end. All right. This is another way of showing you whether or not you did your count right in the previous round. So yarn over your hook. We're doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. 11 half. Hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. 1, 2, 3, sorry about the scraping noises, 4, they are the stitch markers on the board, 5, table if you will, 6, 7, 8, almost skipped a stitch there, 9, 10, 11. And if you did your sums right, you should have 1, 2, 3, and that tight stitch there, 4. Do 4 double crochets. Hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over 2, 2 loops, yarn over 2. And 3 more. That's your second one, your third one, and your fourth one. And again, you should have your corner stitch marker stitch where you're doing your normal corner that you have been doing all along with your 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 2 double crochets. All right, super easy, yeah? Super easy. Now, normally in your previous rounds, you have had to push this over to find the stitch. But because we turned around the first time, the stitch is sticking this way, which has helped your work straighten up. Okay, these are all the factors of when you change the style of the pattern, yeah? Once again, you're doing your 4. And I'm going to pop this side on fast for you until we get to the next corner. And that's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and now you start your 11 half doubles all the way across, and let's pop this on fast and off we go. $11, and now you should have your 1, 2, 3 and 4 double crochets across, and off you go with your doubles, not your half doubles, your doubles now. It's easy to miss that stitch, be careful. Yeah, there's your fourth, and once again you're going to do a normal corner of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 2 double crochets. All right, hope you can't hear that bubbling in the background, guys. That's my sauce cooking. What? All right, you can pop your stitch marker in the corner if you like. I think at this stage you can tell the corner. The stitch markers we really need for these little single crochet rows and the unusual treble row, if you will. All right, once again 4 across, and then 11, and then another 4, and I will meet you once we do the very last 4, and off we go. And 11. Now here's where it can get a little tricky. You need to do 4 double crochets across, yeah? Now if you look carefully, you'll see you've got your 1, 2, 3 and 4. And right over here it looks like a 5th one. That is not a 5th one, that is where your corner stitch is. All right, maybe we should leave a stitch marker in there so you can see it, but we'll see, yeah? All right, so double crochet in the very next stitch 1, double in your second 2, double in your third 3, double in your fourth, right there, that tight stitch, actually a little loose, which is good. And then you have your corner set. And if you give it a tug, you can see where your double crochet and your chains are sitting in. You can see that loop sticking, like that little space sticking. You're going to put 2 double crochets in that little stitch right there. 1, whoops, get that stitch marker out of the way, 2. Now you are completing your corner, by the way. Chain 1 and 2, and then you're slip stitching into the stitch with your stitch marker. Did I split it? No, I should be okay. Pull that loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, removing your stitch marker. All right, from here we're chaining 1, 2 and 3. Now remember how we go into that space with our double crochet, not forward but into the space. Pop your hook back, pull a loop through and do your double crochet. And yours truly forgot to put the stitch marker in the top 2 loops of that third chain. Right there, make sure you pop that in. It's a really tight chain for me. Hopefully yours isn't as tight. Looks like I may have even split the stitch. I'll deal with that at the end of the round, all right? Now, remember, you need to count your stitches across in every round that you do. Really important to count your stitches across, all right? So what I want you to do now is to count your stitch from the, I'll show you now, from, we'll do it from here so you can see, from, oh, look how far away we are again. Here we go. From your, and I've split the stitch there, but from your very first double crochet here. So 1, 2, 3, all the way across until you get to the last double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. So it's 23 stitches across. If you want to get pedantic, don't count your corner stitches, counting just your stitches that you created. But I would like to start counting the corner stitches on this special round so that you know you've got the right amount of stitches across, because now you're going to be counting your stitches across again and not just your first few stitches. Like here we counted the first 4 and then we went 11. Now you're just going to do a row of double crochets, which is very exciting because that's very basic. So you're moving everything over and now you are actually working in your top chain stitch there. So you're popping a double crochet in that top stitch. You're going to love this round. So basic. It's doubles all the way across. In every stitch you come to, yeah, you make sure you've done your chain 3 and your double crochet in that corner. And then start in the chain 3 and then your next double and your next double. All right, super easy this part. We're just putting double crochets all the way across until we get to our corner. So I'm going to pop this on fast. Just do your doubles until you get to the very last double crochet here. All right, I'm going to pop it on fast and I'll meet you there in just a moment, and off you go. Second last stitch and my last stitch right there, and I'm far away. All right, so I did a double crochet in every stitch all the way across, even in the very last stitch. Now I'm going to go into the corner with your normal corner of 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Super easy. Taking out your stitch marker, and you can pop it in the same corner if you like, or you can omit them at this stage. Yeah. All right. Once again, you're going to move your work over, find your first double crochet, and off you go. This row, you know what you're doing. I'm sorry, this round, you know what you're doing because you've been doing this round all the way across. All right, so that's super easy. What I want you to do is to make sure you count your sides, make sure each side adds up to exactly the same. And I also want you to head off on your own, finish this round, which is super easy. You've been doing it all along here. So just finish off this round. Get to the stitch, the last stitch on this round here, and I'll meet you there and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, double crochet in every stitch, 2, 2, 2 in the corner, double, 2, 2, 2, double, get to that very last stitch and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. Now I haven't completed the corner on this one, but before we continue on now, I need you to count your stitches from the very first stitch that you created here until there. That should be 27 stitches across, 27 from the first stitch right over to the very last stitch here. Only the stitches in the sides, not the corners, just the sides. When I say not the corners, not the chain 2, all right? So from there to there, 27, from there to there, 27, and from there to there, you should only have 25 because we haven't completed the corner, which will give you 2 more stitches. All right, so what we're going to do is complete this corner by doing our 2 double crochets in the corner where all this is. Okay, so yarn over your hook in the space, doing your 1 double crochet, doing your 2 double crochets or your second one, right there, chain 1 and 2, and normally you would do 2 double crochets, but they're already in there, which is the chain 3 and the double crochet that you did in the beginning. All right, so you're going to slip stitch into the tight stitch. If yours is too tight, you can take out your stitch marker, and mine is, so I'm going to take mine out. Don't you love it? So slip stitch in the top tight 2 loops of your chain and pull a loop through. So including these 2 stitches, your last side should be 27 stitches across. Make sure you count them. Yeah. But in the meantime, guess what? This is the exciting bit. This is the bit where we chain 1, 2 and 3, and you grab that stitch marker and you pop it in there again, like so. And you're going to pop your double crochet in the space like normal. So you're going over your chains and into the space and doing your double crochet. Now this is the bit where we did our back loop only row. So you're going to do your back loop only, but remember your very first stitch is that tight stitch that you've slip stitched into. So getting into that first stitch is going to be very, very tricky. All right, I'm going to struggle because mine is tighter than yours, probably, most likely. But get into that very tight back loop only, yeah, and do your double crochet. Then, once again, you're going into, you'll find now that your work will be facing you anyway. There's your front loop and there's your back loop. Remember, we are doing the back loop only. Double crochet into every loop that you come to. Not every stitch, every back loop that you come to, which is tricky. And the way you know you've done it right is you start to see a line across here. That's your front loop line. All right, so there's your stitch, that's your front loop, and your back loop is at the back, like so. All right, it's now for the rest of the row, it's super easy because you've done this before. Way back down here, you've done this. All right, so this is not a new stitch. This is your normal stitch. So let's bring this right out and I'm going to give you instructions. Back loop only all the way to the corner. Guess what? We're going to do that. I'm going to pop it on fast for you and off we go. Right, I am on my last stitch and I'll show you that in a moment. That's the second last stitch I just did. Now my last stitch is right here into the back loop only. Okay, all right, so make sure you've gone through every back loop stitch. Get into the corner with your 2, 2, 2. No back loops here, you're just jumping into the corner, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Super easy. Remove your stitch marker. You can keep it in the center if you like. I'm just going to remove it for now. We don't really need it because you can see your corners. Once again, make sure you move your guys right over so you can find the back loop of your first stitch, which is tricky to find, but it's right there. All right. Now what I want you to do is just do a couple of stitches here first. One more. Couple, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's all the same. The reason is I want you to count the sides across this way. All right, the sides. If you don't count the sides and you're one short here, you continue the whole round. Once again, you're going to have to take the whole thing undone if you've made a mistake right here. All right, so you make sure you count the sides. I think it's 31 stitches across, but don't quote me on it. The very first chain that you created up the top there, all the way across to that last stitch, should be 31 per side. 31 there, 31 there, 31 there, all the way through. All right, so what you're going to do now is double back loops only, 2, 2, 2 in the corner, back loops only, 2, 2, 2 in the corner, back loops only, and wait for me there because that's our that's our starting stitch right there. All right, but make sure that when you finish one section, you count. Finish the next section, count. Nothing worse than get to here, realize you're short here, and you've made a mistake all the way over here at the beginning. There's nothing worse. At the moment, you don't have a lot of stitches per side. It's only 31. But when your blanket grows, it's going to be way too big to mess up. So make sure you count per side. All right. So go ahead and finish this round. Back loops only, 2, 2, 2. Back loops, 2, 2, 2. Back loops, 2, 2, 2. Back loops. Get to this very last stitch right there. And I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, check it out. It's getting bigger here. 31 across here, 31, 31 and 29. And the reason is we have not completed our corner. So let's go in and complete our corner. It's getting very exciting now, isn't it? Yarn over our hook into the corner with your last 2 double crochets. Chain 1 and 2. Slip stitch to join. This one's not so tight. Pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. Chain 1, get excited guys. Pop your stitch marker in that little loop and get ready for some instructions. Get excited. So when we talk about instructions, here I need to pass on 3 different types of instructions, okay? One is, the main instruction is, we worked from the pattern row all the way to our back loop only row, okay? That's going to be called your pattern row. The next one will be called your single crochet row where you've turned your work. The next one will be called your special row where you had to turn your work again and do those 4 doubles across, 11 half and then 4 across, and the next one will be just called a double crochet row, and then your last one will be called double crochet in the back loop row. Now the reason I'm explaining it to you like this is because at the end of this tutorial I'm going to write up exactly what I want you to do, but I'm also going to explain it to you. You started from here and you did 5 rows, I think it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you've done 5 rows. What I want you to do now is to repeat this 5 rows once and twice. So you need to repeat part 2 more times on this one colour for now. Okay, that's our first instruction. The second instruction is whenever you get to that special row, remember before where we had 4 doubles, 11 half doubles and 4 doubles, that's going to change in every set. Your very next set, you will have 8 double crochets across. I have to look down at the book, sorry guys. 19 half double crochets and then 8 double crochets. All right. So when you do that special row where you are adding double crochets and half double together, remember your next set will be 8, 19 and 8. When you do it the next time again, it will be, I'm looking down at the book, sorry guys, 12, 27 and 12. So 12 doubles, 27 half doubles and 12 doubles. All right, this is the only confusing part that hopefully you don't get too confused. Now, once again, that row will be called the special row. And I will show you each one of the rows. I'll write it out for you. This is your first row. This is whichever, I'm going to call it the rows that they are. So row 1 will be pattern row. Row 2 will be your single crochet row. Row 3 will be your special row where you're mixing the 2 stitches, which is the double and the half double. And row 4 will be your normal double crochets. And row 5 will be your double crochets in the back loop row. So you are repeating those 5 rows once and then twice. So 2 more times. Remember, on the first set, it is 8 double crochets, 19 half doubles, 8 doubles. And the next set is 12 double crochets, 27 half doubles, and 12 doubles. And that's per side. All right, only on the special row. Now I'll also pop in the amount of stitches that you will have at the end of each round. All right, so you're not going to be left in the dark, okay? But all you are really doing is repeating what we did today once and twice more, 2 more times. That's the very first instruction to follow. The second instruction was about the special row. The third instruction, which is a whole lot of fun. Are you ready for the third instruction? You need to do that in the 4 colours that we have. Oh, I'm going to bring this out a little bit because I can't fit it all in. That we have chosen for our blanket. All right. So as you can see, I've already gone through. This one here is complete with an extra bit, which you're going to talk about on part 3. This one here has one more set to do, which I'm doing right now, which is the special row. So this one here is the third set where I go 12 across, 27 across, and then 12 across. All right, that's one side of the special row. So I'm hoping all this has made sense for you. I hope it hasn't confused you too much. So what you need to do is repeat what we've done today 2 more times. Don't cut your thread. Do it in another colour. Do it all in another colour and do it all in your 4th colour. And then you're going to meet me back here. We're going to do something a little different with our pieces. All right. It's a little unusual and I hope you like it. All right. So this is pretty much the instructions you'll need. Repeat your sets twice more. So 1 more set, 2 more sets. Make sure you focus on your special row and also make sure you focus on your counts per sides and make sure all your stitches add up at the end. It's a lot of instructions there, and if you have any problems, please message me. You can leave a comment in the comment section down below, or if you're a bit shy to do that, you can private message me at your convenience, yeah? So message me when you can if there's any issues, and then that's it really. So that's part 2 today of our beautiful mystery blanket. This is the mystery now. It's all happening. It's starting to all come together. We're going to have one more section to put it all together, and then we're going to start focusing on extra rows and border for our blanket. You're thinking, what is going on? Well, you're about to find out in part 3. Not now. This is part 2. I thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys always do for me. And join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Don't forget to marry that up with your country. And we will talk about this blanket on our very next live, which I believe is this Saturday. Tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Oh my gosh, already. We will talk about our blanket tomorrow on our very next live. And I may give away a little tip that may help you before you join us again on part 3. But in the meantime, you have a lot of work to do. It's going to take more than a week. So I'm going to give you guys about 2 weeks to do this. And please let me know if you're struggling for time, because as you can see, I've already done most of mine. So mine won't take too long to do these 2 pieces. All right. So if I am ahead of you, please let me know and I will give you that extra week. So instead of giving you 2 weeks, I can give you 3 weeks. And then we all meet back here. Don't cut any of your threads, guys. And you are repeating part 2 that we just did 2 more times, focusing on your special row count as well. All right. So I will leave all that information for you in a moment, but I thank you very much for joining us, and good luck with your squares, and ciao for now.